We spend so much time trying to manage the outside world, school, our friends, just the absolute chaos of growing up. But what if the real secret to winning wasn't out there, but in here? Today, we're going to break down how to manage your own mind and treat it like a skill, one that you can actually train and master.
And this quote right here, this is the key to everything we're about to get into. It forces us to accept a kind of weird idea that inside our heads, we aren't just one single unified voice. Nope, we're more like a committee. And let's be honest, sometimes that committee is in complete and utter chaos.
So let's declassify this internal committee of yours. In the world of spies and elite survival training, they actually have a name for this: internal asset management. It's all about knowing who's on your team inside your head, what their job is, and this is the most important part: how to make sure the right person is always in charge. And that's really the core idea here. You've got three totally distinct parts, and they're all competing for control. So the very first step to winning is just learning to tell them apart, so you can make sure they work for you, not against you. Okay, first up on the team, the lizard. Just think of it as your ancient personal bodyguard. It's the most primal part of your brain, and it only cares about one thing, and one thing only: survival. It couldn't care less about your history test or what's going on online. When you feel that sudden jolt of fear or that flash of anger, yep, that's your lizard trying to take the wheel. Next, you've got the mammal. This is your inner social butterfly. This part of you is absolutely obsessed with the pack. Fitting in, being liked, and avoiding rejection at all costs. It's the reason why a mean comment or getting left out can feel like a genuine physical threat. And frankly, it's the part of your brain that makes social media so incredibly powerful and addictive. And finally, there's the human. This is your pilot. This is the newest, most evolved part of your brain. It's the part that's capable of logic, planning ahead, and solving really complex problems. This is the part of you that we want in control. The problem? Well, when the lizard or the mammal gets scared, they have this really nasty habit of storming the cockpit and hijacking the whole plane. So here it is, the official dossier on your internal committee. As you can see, each asset has a very clear trigger. The lizard, it reacts to fear. The mammal, it reacts to social threats, things like embarrassment. And the human, well, it gets activated by problems that need a logical solution. The whole goal here is to keep the human in the pilot seat, using the other two as advisors, not as dictators. But what happens when that system fails? What happens when the wrong asset grabs the controls? Well, you get a full-on system hijack. And believe me, it happens way more often than you probably think. You know this feeling. A teacher calls on you when you don't know the answer, you see some post online that makes your blood boil, or you get into a stupid fight with a friend. You can literally feel that pressure building, that hot, reactive anger or panic just taking over. And that's the moment it happens. The lizard cuts the power to your human brain. Now, this is not just a metaphor. The blood flow in your brain literally shifts away from your prefrontal cortex, which is the pilot seat. In that moment, your logic is just gone. Planning is gone. All that's left is pure, raw, instinctual reaction. And these are the telltale signs of a hijack. You can't think straight, you feel this overwhelming sense of panic, or maybe you feel nothing at all. You're just totally numb. Your body kicks into survival mode with a racing heart and sweaty palms. Sound familiar? Yep, that's your lizard in full control. Okay, so that's the problem. But here's the good news. You are not helpless. Now we get to the solutions. Think of this as your top secret counterintelligence briefing, filled with biohacks to take back control from that pesky lizard. And listen, these are not just some feel-good tips. These are proven biohacks. These are techniques used by surgeons, special forces operators, and even astronauts to keep their human brain online when the pressure is absolutely crushing. So the first and probably the most powerful tool is called box breathing. And it's incredibly simple. As you can see, you breathe in for a 4 count, you hold it for 4, you breathe out for 4, and you hold that for 4. It's like you're drawing a box with your breath, and doing that sends a direct command to your nervous system to just chill out. And here's the crucial part, why this actually works. See, you can't reason with a lizard, you can't talk to it, but you can speak its language. By controlling your breath, you are sending a direct physical signal to that ancient part of your brain that says, hey, we are not being chased by a tiger, you can stand down. This calms the lizard and brings your human pilot right back online.
Now, this same idea applies to long-term stress too. Every tiny decision you make all day, what to wear, what to eat for lunch, it drains a little bit of your human pilot's energy. It's a real thing called decisional fatigue. So a pro-level defense is to create routines, what the military calls standard operating procedures. By putting the small stuff on autopilot, you save your pilot's precious energy for when a real crisis hits, and you actually need to be calm and clear-headed. All right, here's a really advanced hack for when your mammal brain is freaking out. When you feel hopeless or lonely, your mammal is basically screaming that you've been kicked out of the pack. The fastest way to silence it is totally counterintuitive. Go help someone else. Helping someone releases oxytocin, that's the connection chemical, which tells your mammal brain, hey, you are a valuable, important member of this pack. It completely flips the script from feeling like a victim to feeling like a leader. So what's the whole point of all this training? What's the end game? It's to achieve what people in the spy world call the ghost mindset. Now, the ghost isn't the loudest person in the room, and they're definitely not the one trying to look tough. As it says right here, the ghost is totally prepared but looks completely normal. They are in quiet, total control of their inner zoo. And this slide just shows the difference perfectly. In a crisis, the untrained minds become liabilities. Their lizards and mammals are running wild, causing problems. The ghost, though? The ghost is the one quietly doing their box breathing, keeping their human pilot online. They observe, they act, and they help the group. They're an asset, not a liability. Which brings us to our final challenge. Think of this as your very first assignment. Because, look, this isn't just interesting information, it's a call to action. And this is probably the most critical takeaway of this entire explainer. You cannot learn to swim during a tsunami. It's impossible. You have to practice these skills now, when the stakes are low. True mastery over your inner world isn't built in the middle of a crisis. It's built in the quiet moments of everyday life. So, I'll leave you with this question. The next time you feel that flash of anger or that wave of anxiety, who's taking the wheel? Is it the panicked lizard, the needy mammal, or is it your pilot? Because now you know you have a choice.